7205 Rome Road. He has lived in Cave Spring for 40 years, and he works at GC for 35 years. What do you like about Cave Spring?
I was told when I first came to Cave Spring that if I got a taste with the water, I would never leave. And they're right. So Cave Spring is a total enjoyment, but I guess the folks are the most important.
What was Cave Spring like when you first moved here?
Wasn't a whole lot different than it is now. The gas was cheap, and coal cost a nickel, and bread cost a dime, and that sort of thing. But most of the folks were about the same as the children and grandchildren are now. The world was just a little slower.
What did you do for fun when you were my age?
When I was your age, you were 11.
Yep.
I rode a bicycle. I lived in Tennessee. I grew up in East Tennessee and Virginia. But mostly riding a bicycle, fishing, hunting, fooling around. I didn't have TV. I used to like to listen to the radio. They had radio stories like the Lone Ranger and Jack Armstrong, the Green Hornet, and all that sort of good stuff. That way you can kind of imagine all the stories. Quite interesting.
What kind of chores did you have at home when you were my age?
What kind of choices? Oh, chores. Well, cutting wood, bringing coal. We had indoor water, but mowing the yard, about the same as now. I hated to wash the car, but Dad told me if I rode in it, I had to wash it.
Okay. What was your life like at home from the kids now in the 1990s?
My mother was always home. She didn't work, and that's one thing, because now a lot of mothers work. We always had meals together, and not a lot of families have meals together now because everybody's going different directions. I would think that church was pretty important. A lot of our activities centered around the church. And schools didn't have as much activities in terms of baseball and basketball and stuff for the kids. It was focused pretty much on the church.
What did you have for transportation?
Well, I used a bicycle most of the time, and we had a car. Our family had an old car, so we got around it. It wouldn't start. We had to park it on a hill, and it was a manual transmission, so you could start it by driving it off.
What was your school name?
My school's name, the high school I graduated from was Dobbins Bennett High School in Kingsport, Tennessee. But I went to school in Appalachia, Virginia, my first 3 years. And I fell in love with my third grade teacher. And an interesting war-related story, her fiancé was drafted into the war. That was 1941. And he came back from his first induction to visit her. And I was so mad he came back, I hid and threw rocks at him because he was coming back to see my teacher.
Did you have to walk to school?
Yeah.
Did you have to go back home every day to go eat lunch, or did?
No, we ate at school. We usually took our lunch. We didn't have a school lunch program as expanded as it is now, but we usually took a sandwich and something and got milk from school.
What was your first job?
Working in a grocery store as a bag boy.
If you could change Cave Spring, what would you change about it?
I probably wouldn't change anything. Folks are just about as good as they can get. And, if I started tinkering with it, I might mess the whole thing up. I kind of like it the way it is.
Would you move the high school back?
Well, now, I do think we need the high school back, yeah. Well, the whole grade, middle school and high school both.
Where's your favorite social club?
I'm like, the Davis is over in the park. I love to go over there and jog now.
Okay, let's see, did you get married?
Yeah, I got married, not here, but Shirley and I got married in Thomaston, Georgia in 1957. She came here and taught while I was in the Army over in Africa. Then I came in 1958. Not too long after that, Carrie was born.
Did you only have one child?
No, Carrie's mother, Katie's mother, Carrie, and then Eric is her younger brother.
Okay. What was the holidays like around your house when you were young?
Oh, we enjoyed holidays. We always, 4th of July, we'd have fireworks and watermelons and Christmas. And we had, my folks were big on play, and so we always had Santa Claus. My dad would make tracks in the snow and all that sort of good stuff, and we leave stuff for Santa Claus to eat. And Easter egg hunts. We enjoyed holidays.
What was your most memorable moment throughout your life?
I think when I got married, that was probably the best thing that ever happened.
Okay. You said that you worked at GSD.
Yeah.
Let's see. Has sign language changed over the years?
Yes, it has. And sign language is used more and more now in educational schools, programs and schools around the state. But they didn't even have the concept of the word American Sign Language. If the deaf folks wanted to tell you that you were signing well, they'd say, "Oh, you sign deafy," and you sign like a deaf person. But yeah, basically the signs are still the same, but different systems of signs are developed for educational purposes mostly.
How did you get into doing sign language?
I guess I got interested basically when I was in high school. We had the Baptist camp in North Carolina, Ridgecrest, and I met some deaf folks up there, and I got sort of interested in sign language that way. And then in college, I met my wife, who turned out to be the daughter of deaf parents, and I got a little more interested then. And so then when she was here and I got out of the Army, I got a job teaching and coaching at GSD. That kind of primed the pump.
You said a little while ago something about Africa, that you went to Africa. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I was stationed in Eritrea, which is between the Sudan and Ethiopia. And one of the most interesting experiences there was a Lutheran missionary to the deaf who had established a program, a mission school. In that country, they put deaf people out on the deaf babies. When they found out they were deaf, they'd put them out and let the wolves get them. And so the missionary was trying to save all the deaf babies and children. And so the ones that lived were just beggars. And I enjoyed working there with them when I wasn't working with the Army.
Well, what brought you to Caseburg?
My wife came. When I was overseas, she graduated from college and came here, so I followed her.
Anybody got any questions?
When you walked to school, about how far did you walk?
It was about 2 miles. I had a scooter, one of those, and I took it to school a lot too, till somebody throw it off the bridge.
Did you ever get to ride the bus?
No, we didn't have. Well, we had buses to go on trips for sports and stuff like that in high school, but to ride a bus to school, no.
What was your favorite subject and your worst subject in school?
My favorite was science, and I guess one I was bored with more than anything else was health. And I mean, you know, I knew where my toes and my knees and my elbows were. I didn't have to learn that in the book. But I like science.
Were you good at math?
Hmm?
Were you
I was okay. I did good till I got into geometry and trig, and then I dropped from A's to B's because I didn't understand all those things. I didn't like to figure that way. I liked it. 2 + 2 is 4.
How's the deaf school changed over the years?
Well, the main thing is it's gone down in population. The students, at one time, when I was superintendent, we had almost 700 students, and it's down below 100 now.
It's 80.
And also, when I first came to the school, there weren't many deaf children that had other problems, like mental retardation or brain damage or vision problems or something like that. And then since then, there have been a lot of diseases that have affected the development of deaf children, and they have a lot of other problems in addition to just being deaf.
What would you do about the old deaf school where they had moved from, and all those are just like the buildings are not used? Some of them are not used. What do you think we should do with those?
I think the oldest building, built in 1846, the Fannin Hall Administration Building, should be turned into a museum, or at least part of it. And I understand there's some plans to do that. I think some of the other buildings, I would like personally to see a retirement community for deaf people, because Cave Spring is for every deaf person who's been through school here. This is home. They come back here because they spent more time here when they were growing up than they did at home. And I would like to see a retirement community with all different kinds of services established on the old campus.
Do you still teach today?
No, I'm retired and help take care of a relative who has Alzheimer's.
Do you encourage other people to learn sign language?
Oh yes, I'll teach them my sign language at the drop of a hat. We have a sign language class. In fact, at church we have a sign of the week that we present every Sunday morning.
Yeah, sign language class.
Right.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you for asking me. I've enjoyed the interview. And I think it's great what you all are doing with the research and learning how to research and find out what's happened before. Many things happen that we don't realize. If you don't know what happened in the past, you don't understand how we got where we are now. Thank you.